Jeffrey Fry is a serial entrepreneur. He has started many businesses, has been integral with a lot of Fortune 250 businesses, and we are so very fortunate that he is willing to be our speaker today. And he can tell you, before he launches into his presentation, he can probably tell you a little bit about his current business, which I had the opportunity to learn quite a bit about during South by Southwest, because I was actually one of the people that helped man the table where he was had in the interactive area. It was just a really fascinating business and something I think that would be appropriate for a lot of people, maybe some of us as we get older, and certainly maybe some of our parents. So anyway, I would love to have the opportunity to introduce you to our speaker this week, Jeffrey Fry.
Thank you. So before I get started, I just want to say that I was sitting in these chairs when we were someplace else, like 19 years ago. And the only thing that's different between you guys and me is my incredible fashion sense and this hair. So that's the only thing you got to worry about. So what I'm going to tell you applies to anybody. There's no special talent to what I'm going to say, and a lot of people have seen it and done it before. And I think I could advance this from. So essentially, a little bit about myself and persistence. I was a corporate guy, electrical engineer. My first job was in Midland, Texas. No, I was not in the oil and gas business, but incredibly, I was dating the vice president, the daughter of the vice president of drilling at Exxon, and we used to talk about tertiary recovery methods, which is now called fracking. And he said, I should be in the oil business. I said, no, I don't want to be in the oil business. I want to be in electronics, right? But that's another story. But small thing, long journey, right? Everything is a long journey, and part of it we'll have to talk about persistence. So the other thing about my business now, and this is sort of a change, I ended up having to take care of my mom, which my mom and I did not speak to each other for 21 years. And my brother and I did not speak to each other for a little bit longer. He gets a heart attack. I call him up. Say, yeah, everything's forgiven. What the hell is wrong with you? You got to get a heart attack for me to call you. 4.5 hours later, he's dead. He was getting a stent put in. It was not supposed to be a big deal. So life changed, right? Good thing happened. His friends came in and said he was happier than they'd ever seen him. My little brother called me. It was a great day, right? So everything changed because of that. The business ended up, that I started, my mom worked for the State Department for 49 years. Incredibly, it just occurred to me, her initials were GS Fry, which is Gladys Seda Fry, but government service also. So literally, she spent her whole life in there. But long story short, I had to get care for her. She was a very bright woman. She was in DC. I was in Austin. I didn't have a chance. She was losing her facilities a little bit. She had a blunt force trauma in her 40s. What's happening to NFL players with dementia. She was getting dementia, they almost killed her. So she was in the hospital 60 days with a cut. It got sepsis, moved her down here. At the same time, hired another private duty agency. Finally got a great, my mom's bilingual, Spanish and English. I was actually born in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I speak no Spanish, so there you go. There's another story behind that, but anyway, she had her come down here and finally got a great caregiver the third time around named Juanita. And Juanita worked for 7 months, and one day she said, I can't work for your mom anymore. And I said, why? I said, did she do something wrong? She said, no, Gladys is awesome. I love her. She's the easiest client I ever had. And she said, why am I doing this? I mean, why are you leaving? I said, well, I got a better job. I said, oh, that's great. Now, I'd start 3 businesses to that. And, I was just doing an interesting. I said, how much are they paying you? Now, I was getting charged $22 an hour for 20 hours a week. I thought she'd make at least 12, 13 bucks. When she said $8.25, the look on my face, she actually grabbed my arm and said, no, I'm getting a raise. I said, oh, what? Oh, great, you're getting a raise. What? $8.50. And at that moment, I realized why my mom came back in my life. Everyone talks about empowering women. And when I say, what empowers women? There's one thing, money. And so when a caregiver on our site, which is called Wellbeyond Care, and I'm not selling my site, but the reason why, here's the term, the persistence, right? Part of what we do when caregivers make an extra $125 to $200 a week, that's real power. And that's what they do. Families save $10,000 to $30,000 a year. So that's a huge delta, right? And the industry is $125 billion. So I started as an electrical engineer, and I'm now in healthcare. Wow. Mom would be happy. She wanted me to be a doctor, but I only play one on television, so there it is. So we're going to start. So it's part of the beginning, the persistence, right? And this is what I'm going to say. So I don't know if this. So what is persistence, right? This is the classic definition of what persistence is. it's a flat picture, right? What does this mean? These are just a bunch of words. The quality of someone continuing doing something. It's like saying, what is love, right? What is art? How do you do it? Paint by the numbers? No, it's a definition. So what I'm going to try to show is put a little depth into this. So most people think persistence as two things. There's actually two sides of persistence, and one good side, and, well, not. And I'm sorry if you're insulted if it's females, but angels tend to be associated with females. So here's the good side. You're determined, flexible, humble, open-minded. And here's kind of the negative side that comes to it. You're stubborn, you're inflexible, you have hubris, you're narrow-minded, you are obsessive, and you are possessive. And both of these are persistent. Now, everyone looks on this side, but this is the persistent characteristic, so we've got to watch out for those aspects of it. Now, the reason why I have these, everyone knows this story, right? The turtle, the hare, and the tortoise, the rabbit and the hare, the turtle. Kind of two sides of persistence here. This one, you know, a little bit humble. This one should have won the race. So, I like entertaining people. And I'm not really that great of a speaker. I don't think I am. But, so I'm going to play a little movie. I have two movies to show you, and they're kind of motivational movies. So this one's called Hard Times.
Where have you been? Why are you here? And where are you going? You look at your life, you look at what you produce. Is it giving you what you want? Are you living on purpose? Are you living your dream? Are you acting on your ideas? Are you doing all you can do? Have you gotten comfortable? Are you procrastinating? Are you evading your own greatness? Are you surrounding yourself with people that can nourish you? Are you challenging yourself? Are you experimenting? Are you learning something different? Is your life an adventure or is it boring? Why are you here? What brought you here? Investing the time, the money. What brought you here? What decisions are you making right now as you look into the future? Where are you going with your life?
I don't care how hard you fail. I don't care how many times you fail the test. I don't care if nobody don't believe in you. It only takes you believing in yourself to get this thing done. As long as you believe in you, you got the right mindset, you got the right attitude, you can have whatever you like. But if you fall, I need you to fall forward. I need you to fail forward.
Now, are there going to be some moments when you want to give up? Yes. Will there be some moments when it's going to seem like it's impossible? The pain that you're experiencing, the disappointment that you're experiencing, that you're going to say, it's not worth it? Yes, that's going to be right there for you. It's going to be in your face, telling you to go back.
But don't let the distractions distract you. All right? You got to keep moving. Don't stop.
Separate what you do from who you are. That's what the guilt trap is about. All of us have made some mistakes in life. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. A lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. A lot of us, because of our limited vision of ourselves, a lot of us who begin to focus on problems and enable them to overwhelm us, we begin to think that we have no options. We begin to believe that there's no way out. You can always better your best. You can always go beyond anything that you have ever done. And I'm saying that the fact that you're still here, that you're still breathing, you've got some more work, and you owe it to yourself. So when you get up in the morning, that you can look yourself in the face and say, hey, I'm living my life on my terms.
But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. Pretend that everything's okay when it's not, and you go home and lay in your bed when no one's looking at you, when you don't have to impress anybody, and fear comes in, You know the fear that you have as soon as you walk into the doors of your house. Maybe there's a broken home. Maybe you have doubt in your life. Maybe you don't know for sure what's going to be happening in the future and it scares you. Maybe you're worried about what people think of you, what people say about you. Just that fear paralyzes you. And I just want to ask you today, do you think you have hope?
Right now, you're at the worst place in your life that you've ever been. I believe that this is your beginning, but this doesn't have to be your end. That just because you are currently here, this is your present circumstances, that life don't have to end for you right now.
What is it that will give you the drive? What is it that will ignite the courage in you to get up and come back again and again and again?
Your why. Your why is going to push you when you can't push yourself. When you want to quit and give up, your why is going to give you that edge you need, that advantage you need, that lift that you need to get to the next level. Your why. Yes, we're tired. Yes, we're hungry. Yes, the mind is saying give up. Yes, it's saying quit. But we cannot quit because we realize we have not reached the goal yet. This is not what I said I was going to do. This is what I talked about. This is not the goal. This is not what I dreamed about. This is not what it looks like.
I will try 100 times to get up. And if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No.
So I need you to believe.
But if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up.
You can decide that you're going to stand up to life.
And it's not the end until you've given up. There's still hope.
You're going to work through this. You're going to get up. You're going to get dressed. You're going to get out. And you're going to do what you've been called to do. You're going to be what you called to be. You're going to have, and you're going to prove to everybody that tried to break you, everybody that tried to stop you, everybody that tried to kill your dream, you're going to prove all of them wrong. I use the pain to push me to greatness. And I'm telling you right now, don't give up. I'm telling you right now, don't give in. Get through it. There is still time. As long as there's breath in your nostrils, as long as you can wake up in the morning.
It matters how you're going to finish. And you will find that strength to get back up.
You still in the game, which means if you're in the game and there's still time in the game, still time left in the game, you can still win the game. You can't afford not to be you. You can't afford just to go to work so you can get a check. You cannot afford not to see what your greatest is. You can't afford not to put your foot all the way down and see what you can get out of life.
You'll get knocked down, but you won't be knocked out. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am.
You can't afford not to be you.
You're going through some hard times. It has not come to stay. It has come to pass. It takes guts to pick yourself up. It takes guts. You got to dig down deep to gut it out. Keep on going again and again and again until you make it happen, because you know that it's possible.
And many of you right now, life's got you up against the rope. You can't give up. You can't give in. I mean, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And if life's got you backed up, to start fighting back.
Because life knocks you down trying to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
It's necessary you take responsibility for it, that you make it happen, that you don't give up, that you keep on keeping on, that you don't decide that I can't make it because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. We have so much energy that can take us so far. It's necessary that you hook up with some other energy that can take you to the next level. Just go out there. It's possible you can get what you want. It's necessary. If you want it, you got to go into action. You got to be willing to experiment. You got to be willing to fail and to succeed. Here's your dream manifested. No, it's hard. Yes, it's hard. It's difficult. Yes, right? And it's worth it. It's necessary that you have a plan of action, that you're resilient, that you stick to, that you have the vision and never give up, that you become creative and relentless and keep on coming back again and again and again. And that it's you that you got to take personal responsibility to make it happen, and that it's hard. Easy is not an option. And when life knocked you down, jump back up and said, it's not over until I win.
Those are some of the best motivational speakers in the world that are speaking. A lot of them came from places a lot worse than you. And the characters in it, of course, Einstein, Muhammad Ali. There's a thing called the IP Man. He's actually a real person. We know him by that. Yes, and he was, and also the, Shawshank Redemption, which is based somewhat on a real character, but it's fictional. But part of what I'm going to do the rest of this is explain why that video was really important. And if you don't believe in something, we all have a talent. The worst thing that we do is that we don't realize what that talent is. Someone once said the 2 greatest days in your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. And hopefully everybody discovers that, the why. Actually, when everybody says, they say, it's the why. I love that. It's the why. And it is always the why. The reason why people like you, it's the why. The reason why you do stuff is the why. If you don't have that why, you're not going to do things. That's part of persistence. So, everybody kind of knows this guy that's an American, right? They think he's wonderful. He's the father of our country and everything, but here's some facts about it. He only had 17 major battles with the British. And more importantly, he only won 4. Everyone says, really? I thought he won everything. No, he was a chronic loser, but he never made the same mistake twice. That's the one thing. So, does anybody know who this is? Florence Nightingale. Here's a little known fact about her. Her first thing that she worked in the hospital, the mortality rate actually increased by 50%. And the reason why, she did not know about hygiene. She thought it had to do with eating. Now, she changed her view when she learned it, right? And then ended up finding the American Red Cross. So, she actually has a great quote. She says, I never use excuses. I never put excuses for my success. In other words, I never used an excuse of failure to get ahead. Just an incredible woman in herself. Everyone knows who this is, right? Yeah, well, he almost died fasting. And it called out such a thing that he overthrew the greatest power on earth without firing a bullet, which is persistence, right? He believed in something, right? And I'm getting to a point eventually. I'm going to tell you some of these people. You know him. Yeah, and you know how long it took him to sell? 16 years before he sold his first franchise. One of the most famous faces in the world, the Colonel. So, people don't know that. Persistence, right? So, everyone knows this, Nelson Mandela. Literally, I call him the George Washington of Africa, because he was the first president to resign after his term in Africa, and still the only one, willingly, not being kicked out. So, he spent 37 years in jail. That's a hell of a long time to hate somebody, but he didn't. His first question when he came out of jail was, what are you going to do with the whites? And his answer was, forgive them. This is a man that had every reason in the world to be bitter, right? And he didn't. Overthrew apartheid. Started it, right? He was the figurehead. So some of the thing that most people don't understand about persistence, it's not a sprint. It's not even a marathon. It's more like filling up a bucket of water. You do a little bit every day. It's drip, drip, drip. It's what you do consistently that gets done, right? And it's not the goal that is so important, it's the action to the goal, right? And everyone says the journey. No, it's the action. It's the one foot and then the next foot, right? Moving forward. And sometimes it's hard to move those feet forward. Oh, and this is my quote, by the way. Now, I'm going to tell you some things on a bigger scale, right? Nobody knows this. Few people know this about Coca-Cola. They almost failed. The largest bottling company in the world. For years, they didn't sell anything. So they kept going. Everybody's heard of Alibaba? Jack Ma? 3 years, he didn't make a sale. Not one sale. He didn't make a dollar or a yen, yuan, whatever they use. They didn't make one. But he believed in what he was doing. So, you know this thing, right? Well, here's a little known fact. They tried to sell it. And they said, nobody wanted it. So it was like, nobody wants Apple, the most valuable company in the world. Xerox. Interesting story about this. It was invented by a lawyer. Had no engineering, but he had an inkling of dry printing. Electromagnetic surfaces were coming in, and that's what he did. But look how long it took for him, 28 years, until the first xerographic machine was sold. From the first time he did it to actually being a company. And he was, both IBM and General Electric were presented with it. They said, this will never catch on. And Ford. He went bankrupt 5 times. 5 times. That's nuts. I haven't been bankrupt once, so I need to catch up. If that's the model of success, I need to get going. So so think about that, right? That's part of why this is really kind of important. And I actually have another. This is where the other one was. This is kind of explains the drip, 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 right? And this is a little bit shorter.
Rise and shine. 6 a.m. and your hand can't make it to the alarm clock before the voices in your head start telling you that it's too early, too dark, and too cold to get out of bed. Aching muscles lie still in rebellion, pretending not to hear your brain commanding them to move. A legion of voices are shouting their unanimous permission for you to hit the snooze button and go back to dreamland. But you didn't ask their opinion. The voice you've chosen to listen to is one of defiance. A voice that says there was a reason you set that alarm in the first place. So sit up, put your feet on the floor, and don't look back, because we've got work to do. Welcome to the grind. For what is each day but a series of conflicts between the right way and the easy way? 10,000 streams fan out like a river delta before you, each one promising the path of least resistance. Thing is, you're headed upstream. And when you make that choice, when you decide to turn your back on what's comfortable and safe and what some would call common sense, well, that's day one. From there, it only gets tougher. So just make sure this is something you want, because the easy way out will always be there, ready to wash you away. All you have to do is pick up your feet. But you aren't going to, are you? With each step comes the decision to take another. You're on your way now, but this is no time to dwell on how far you've come. You're in a fight against an opponent you can't see, but oh, you can feel him on your heels, can't you? Feel him breathing down your neck. You know what that is? That's you. Your fears, your doubts, and insecurities all lined up like a firing squad, ready to shoot you out of the sky. But don't lose heart. While they're not easily defeated, they are far from invincible. Remember, this is the grind, the battle royale between you and your mind, your body, and the devil on your shoulder who's telling you that this is just a game. This is just a waste of time. Your opponents are stronger than you. Drown out the voice of uncertainty with the sound of your own heartbeat. Burn away your self-doubt with a fire lit beneath you. Remember what we're fighting for, and never forget that momentum's a cruel mistress. She can turn on a dime with the smallest mistake. She is ever searching for the weak place in your armor, that one tiny thing you forgot to prepare for. So as long as the devil is hiding the details, the question remains, is that all you got? Are you sure? And when the answer is yes, when you've done all you can to prepare yourself for battle, then it's time to go forth and boldly face your enemy, the enemy within. Only now you must take that fight into the open, into hostile territory. You're a lion in a field of lions, all hunting the same elusive prey with a desperate starvation that says victory is the only thing that can keep you alive. So believe that voice that says you can run a little faster, and you can throw a little harder, and that for you, the laws of physics are merely a suggestion. Luck is the last dying wish of those who want to believe that winning can happen by accident. Sweat, on the other hand, is for those who know it's a choice. So decide now, because destiny waits for no man. And when your time comes and 1,000 different voices are trying to tell you you're not ready for it, listen instead to that lone voice of dissent. The one that says you are ready, you are prepared. It's all up to you now. So rise and shine.
Does anybody know what Nike means? Or Nike is? Winged victory. It's the goddess of victory. Good name. So what this is about is that sports metaphors are the easiest one, right? Because there's a set time of when you do something in a finish line, right? We aren't playing a sport. And one of the things about it is that and you may hate this, I used to be a Dallas Cowboys fan until the present owner became the owner, but I'm a huge Tom Brady fan. And the reason why I'm a Tom Brady fan is not because he's the greatest quarterback ever, but he still thinks he's not a good quarterback. All of the great people that you've seen in your life, they all felt they weren't good enough. A story about George Washington, there's a direct relation with my family and his. My great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, Colonel Joshua Fry II, George Washington was his second in command in Fort Necessity. So I like to say he died in a battle fending off the French in what is now Western Pennsylvania. So I like to say we died and made way for greatness. So that's one of the things about it. So there's connections, and we're all connected, right? So that's the other thing that you have to think about is, in persistent, you don't know how close you are to somebody that you need to be. So there's little fortune cookies that people talk about, right? These little tidbits that come out that have been said throughout this whole little presentation. Quitters never win and winners never quit. You've heard these all the time, right? You just throw them out. You don't quit trying, you lose me, quit trying. Right? And these are all sort of things that you could say as mantras or whatever. So the will is as important as the skill. Who's the guy? The comedian says, thank goodness that persistence outweighs my talent, because I felt like Robin Williams. He felt he had no talent, but he was persistent, right? He did pretty well for himself as well. So, does anybody know this? Who this is? Has anybody heard of the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita? Well, that's Arjuna. And I'm telling you this because this is one of the aspects of persistence. There were 5 brothers, the Pandavas. Arjuna was the youngest. And one day, 3 of the brothers went to an archery lesson to the master, right? And so the archery master puts a fish up on a tree. And it's pretty high up. And he puts a water as a mirror on the ground. And he's instructing them. He says, I want you to look into the water and shoot the eye out of the fish. And it's pretty high up in the tree. So the first brother goes up. And he says, and he asks him, okay, draw your bow. What do you see? He says, I see the clouds in the sky. I see the birds circling around. I see the tree and the fish. He says, put your bow down, sit down. The second brother, Bhimi, goes up, also a great hero. And this story is 4,200 years old, also a great hero. He says, what do you see? Well, I see the tree and the leaves and the fish. He says, sit down. So Arjuna goes up. He says, Arjuna, draw your bow. What do you see? I see the eye of the fish. Shoot. That's the difference. Focus, right? So part of persistence is focus. Not focus in the fact of exclusion and everything else, but focus on what you want to do, what you want to be. When you get distracted and go willy-nilly, you're not getting to where you want to go. Remember, drip, drip, drip every day. It's not a flood. It's a drip, drip, drip. So what do you want to be? I know what I want to be. I want to be wealthy enough so that I could give all my money away and die a poor man and help millions of people. That's my focus. That's my why. That's what oh, by the way, I did discover my second day, helping other people. That was my second day. I knew when I was born, my second day was helping other people, the best thing in the world to ever do. So that's Arjuna. There's another story that has to do. It's kind of a legend, and it talks about an elderly gentleman, and he had some people that were given to him about, hey, you're successful. What are you going to teach me, right? You're an old man, you don't do anything. So the guy tells him, hey, tomorrow morning I want to meet me down by the beach, by the shore. And he's talking to his friends. He says, what the hell, we're going to go swimming? How's that going to be successful? He says, no, it's all right, we'll go and search them. Right in the morning, early to the shore, tide's out. He says, okay, it's a little cold. Here, get down to your skivvies. Okay, crazy man, what are you doing? He says, okay, come on, walk into the water with me. He says they're up to like their knees. He says, can you feel the bottom of the ocean? He says, yeah, I can feel it. Can you stand? He says, okay, come out a little further. Can you still touch the bottom? He says, yeah. He says, go out a little further. It's right up to the top. Can you still touch the bottom? Yeah. Let's go out a little further. He says, can you touch the bottom now? He says, no. So puts his head underwater. Nearly drowns him. Pulls him out. He says, God damn it, man. What are you trying to do? Kill me. He says, I'll tell you when we get back to the shore. So he drags him back to the shore. He can't swim. He's standing up there. He says, what the heck were you doing trying to kill me? He says, no. He says, when you were underwater, what were you thinking about? He said, I only wanted to breathe. I said, exactly. When you want to be successful as much as you wanted to breathe, you will be successful. Until then, you'll be who you are. Nothing. And so that's why I put that up there. So the other thing is desire. You don't want to be anything, you're not going to be anything. Period. Not going to be anything. So what does that bring us to, right? What is persistence? It's attitude. If you don't have it, you're not going to do it. I could talk up here all day and tell you everything, hundreds of people can do it, but if you don't have the attitude that you want to do it, you'll never be persistent. And if you're not persistent, you won't be your true self. You'll be the other persistent, the lazy persistent, the I don't want to get up early, that's persistence. Remember, there's two sides of persistence. So one of these attitudes, you know, everybody wants to be here, right? But most of us are here. Why? Because we're choosing the wrong persistence. We're all persistent. It's just that the persistence everyone talks about is success. Few of us want to go there. So I put those videos up there. You have doubts, watch those videos. That'll motivate you. Motivates me. I mean, I have doubts. And with this great hair, how can I ever have doubts? It's okay to doubt yourself. It's okay to question yourself. It's never okay to doubt yourself. And that's one of the things. You have capabilities, right? So in the end, what is persistence? Nothing in the world could take place of persistence. The desire and ability to press on has and always will solve the problems of the human race and divide those who achieve from those who might have been. Period. That is the entrepreneur's mantra. That's why I've started 8 companies, and that's my quote. So that's persistence. I've had people accuse me of things that I haven't done. I was sent away to a military school because I was a very bad boy, 6 years old. But persistence is, all my life people were telling me, you can't do this. You won't make it. And all my life, all I wanted to do is prove them wrong. It said, so I used to have a quote on my Facebook page that says, never give up. There are some MFers that you got to prove wrong. So I'm being recorded, so I didn't want to use bad words. But it's true. So that's all I have to say. So I could stand up here and talk about platitudes and persistence all day long, but it's you. It's like learning how to love, right? Learning how to paint, learning how to be a musician. It's an esoteric art, and it's an art, and you're never going to do it in one day, but you can start today. There's a great story about a person in India that for 20 years, he went out and planted a tree every day. And they show the before picture was a barren desert, and showed the after picture, trees everywhere, wildlife, elephants, lions. It was incredible. Every day, planted a tree, little tree. Never got credit for it. Until one day, somebody followed and said, what are you doing? He says, I'm planting a tree. He said, how long have you been doing this? 20 years. He said, you planted all these trees? Now, of course, they plant themselves again, but that's what he did. That's persistence. Remember, the drip, drip, drip. If you don't do the drip, you won't get to where you want to go, period. So all that I'm here to tell you, I was sitting in those chairs. Yeah, it's taken me 20 years to get this awesome hair and this fashion sense, but other than that, it was like, you could do it too. Every one of you could do it. That's why I'm here. It's like, you're no different than I am. Seriously. We're all connected. So, do you have any questions or at all? Are any of you motivated to do anything? Do you believe yourself a little bit more than my job is done? So, and that's the other persistence, right? Helping other people. That's why I come back and do things, because, you know, I was, quote, a failure many times. I'll fail again. I know I will. So here's the persistence. I'll give you an example right now. In my company, right? So the company that we started, got a little bit of money, got it going, thought it was going to be takeoff, you know, slowly taking off, right? I'm like, dang, what's wrong? I can't control things. I can't control people signing up and paying and stuff like this. What can I control? So I thought about it. I sat down and I said, you know, private duty agencies sell a lot. It's the #1 franchise in America for private care in the home, right? So the software that we run, instead of spending $150,000 to $250,000 to get a franchise, we charge $7,500 to get a license. Just think about the math there. All of a sudden, you don't have to be wealthy to get a franchise that's making between $1.2 and $1.4 million a year. Talk about persistence, right? Everyone calls it the pivot. That's the term. But so now what we're doing, we created another company. We're going to get an investor. We have 3 investors, or I couldn't get an investor in the other company, right? And I understood why. We weren't, you know, taking that rocket growth. So now we're going to get an investor, rewrite the thing, and both companies, instead of having one company, I'm going to have 2 companies that are going to be worth $1 billion, which is great. But more importantly, I'm helping people. I'm helping caregivers get better jobs. I'm helping families keep their parents in home. I'm helping nurses that are on our thing make a better wage. I give 1/3 of our revenue to the nurses. And this is why, because generosity is a really important thing. People want you to win when you're generous. People don't like people when they're greedy. I know that. I'm included. I don't like greedy people. I don't like crazy people. So. I actually had a t-shirt that says, I'm allergic to crazy.